Ladies and gentlemen, we got it. Canada versus the United States at the FIBA World Cup, but it's not going to be for the gold medal. Justin Pooni, Noor, Zainab on a casual Friday here at Hoop Talks, and we have every right to be casual because we were up at 4:45 in the morning watching Team Canada play against Serbia, and unfortunately the ride for Team Canada has come to an end as they fall to Serbia 95-86 in the semifinals, ending their hopes of becoming world champions. And Noah Lyles is probably so happy right now because world champion of what, USA?
He's the man of the hour.
Nothing.
He's the man of the hour.
He is.
Every single clap, words of appreciation go straight to Noah Lyles. He maybe saw this coming. Like, the happiest person right now must be him,
He feels validated.
I'm happy for him. Good for him. But as for Canada and Serbia, we came as far as we could. I'm proud of this team. I think the goal here was to get yourself to the Olympics, which I think only really like Canada and US really care about. Like FIBA. Of course. Like other countries care, but I'm saying FIBA is like the World Cup for other countries, the way that the FIFA World Cup is. But the Olympics is kind of where like US and Canada are thinking they want to have their moment to shine. So for us, you know what I mean? Like for us, this was the way to make this tournament worth it. Even getting to the semifinals is massive against Team Serbia. Let's give Team Serbia round of applause.
Performance.
Amazing team without Nikola Jokic. They're just tall. They understand each other. They know each other's moves, and they just play as a unit. It's a beautiful basketball to
I have
watch.
some numbers for you, run by. So,
no.
Serbia shot 62.1% from the field, 45% from three. Now, this is the most crazy stat. 71% from 2-point range, in the 2-point field goal range. Efficient. Bogdan Bogdanovic had 23 points, led the way. Nikola Jovic was 100% from the field. I think he had 8 points, 4 for 4. On the Team Canada side, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander only took 8 shots, 4 of 8, 50%. Was over 2 from 3-point range. Nickeil Alexander-Walker had 10. RJ Barrett did lead the way. Very efficient, 57% shooting from the field, 23 points. But nothing from Kyle Alexander. Not much from Kelly Olynyk, who shot 16% from the field. Dillon Brooks was 5 for 12. But I think the biggest storyline of this was Canada also shot 48% from the field and 37% from 3-point range. So I just think the efficiency of that Serbian offense, Noor, was very evident to me. They were just having their way with Team Canada's defense. And say what you will, Canada has, exerted a whole lot of energy and efforts throughout this tournament.
Yeah.
I did say they would come third this tournament. So that clip
did you just say that? I don't know.
I did. I said they're going to win the bronze. I did. Remember that clip you're talking about? How
I'm going to have to get some receipts on this one, but I'll let you have it right now.
I always got the receipts.
Okay,
but
show it to me after.
like you mentioned, this is when you look at this totality and how this tournament has wrapped up or will wrap up on Sunday, another early start at 4:30 in the morning for all you people out there if you want to get up early on Sunday. It is a success. They qualified for the Olympics 2024. Like you mentioned, that was what everybody in Canada basketball wanted to aspire to get to.
Yeah.
To finally qualify for the Olympics to now, and they've done that. They accomplished that goal, right? Team USA is already going to be there as well. I think what this showed me, the biggest takeaway I have from this tournament was for Team Canada as a whole, because we can go into the game and all of that and dissect it, but they got beat by a better team that played better on that.
I think that what they failed to get done here has a lot to do with where they're lacking, though. So if you look at this game and if you look at where they came up short, it's to do with the makeup of the team. And the problem with that is you don't really have
the full
a real center. Yeah, you're obviously not at full strength, but neither is Serbia, so you can't talk about that. But what I will say to that is we don't have the length, so we needed to have a dominant center in the paint. We need to have a dominant center in the paint. You need to give someone the job and the duty to be in that area and just to kind of dominate it, to call the authority and to make that place his home. We didn't really have that because if you look at Serbia today, they have 23 defensive rebounds compared to our 15. They had 10 offensive rebounds compared to our 7. They had 46 points in the paint compared to our 32. So we got beat in the paint. That's where it was coming from. And at the same time, too, the defense for Canada lacked quite a bit, I think. But I kind of saw this coming in the sense that with Slovenia, it was it was Luka, right? So you had a target. You understood that you have one guy that you need to stop. And once that happens, everything else from that, like if you make Luka's life hell, that game, even if you lose it, is a win to you. But because Slovenia was pretty much just Luka, it made that win a lot easier for them. But when you get to a team like Serbia, where the talent is very evenly distributed throughout the whole thing, they had like 5 guys in double digits today. And because of that, it's very hard to dictate where the bodies need to be, especially for a young team, especially for a team who's in it for the first time, especially for a team who's still gelling right now. So I think this shows that we need to get a little bit of length. We are there, but we just need to match the powerhouses of the world, because you might think it's the USA, but we got to take a hard look at Europe.
We're going to talk
look at
about
Germany. Look at Schroeder.
We're going to talk about that in a second. But like you
Future
mentioned,
Raptor.
you mentioned
Current Raptor.
You mentioned those stats from the game. You know, second chance points was a big thing, right?
Yeah.
Serbia doubled up Canada on second chance points. They led for over 36 minutes this entire game. Right?
I don't think Canada had much of a
lead. Canada only led for 2 minutes and 47 seconds. The biggest lead Serbia had was 17. They got off to a really good start in that first quarter. You know, Canada was only held to 15 points in the first quarter. They were down, I think they were down by 11 or 13 points going to half or 12 or something like that. That's going to be something difficult. And like you mentioned, Serbia is they might not have the talent, the NBA talent, but they have guys like you mentioned. And I think a lot of people need to understand and realize that these nations, these European nations, they come through the grassroots levels together. It's not like in North America where, you know, everybody plays in their own AAU team. They dominate their own AAU team, and then they assemble kind of like, not like the Avengers, but kind of like they all assemble later on. These guys play together from when they're little kids, growing up through the same system, the same ranks, so they're familiar with each other. The systems generally from those club teams transfer over to the national team, right? It's all under the same ideology, whereas in North America, every different team plays every different system. Now, mostly it's ISO ball, and everybody has been that guy for their teams growing up. So I think that's a big factor when you look at the difference and why we might be seeing these North American powers like the U.S. or a burgeoning power in Canada lose to European
what
teams.
we're seeing massively here too is ball movement and ISO ball. Like what we do in the North America is very much just stagnant offense. You give the guy to one ball, give the ball to one guy, and he kind of runs that offense. He sticks it out, he gets it, he doesn't, and he's pretty much running the shot clock down himself. What European offense does is they move the ball around. The ball's not finding you. You're finding that ball. So you have to keep your feet moving at all times. If you watch their offensive game plans, no one is stuck anywhere. No one's at the perimeter line waiting for the ball to get to them. You move, you cut, you screen, you do what you need to do to have the ball come find you. And that's where I think Europeans win. And that's why I'm excited for Darko and the Raptors. I'm like, having that kind of system come over, I want to see more ball movement. That's what gives you games.
And as a viewer, right? You talked about it's more aesthetically pleasing to watch these European sides play. Like I remember when we watched the Latvia game, I'm like, this is how basketball should be played. Cutting, movement, passing, making that extra pass to get the guy the wide open shot, right? Rather than a guy dribbling the air out of the ball, telling everybody to wave off, stand on the sides. I'm gonna take this guy one-on-one, and if I don't get a direct shot up, or I don't get a direct line to the lane, I'm gonna kick it out last second for a forced shot. That's kind of where you see basketball go now, where guys are just taking turns, and I think that is why you're seeing the Germanys, the Serbias in the finals of the FIBA World Cup, because they play the game the right way in Europe.
It reminds me a lot of soccer in Europe. When I watch them play, I just think about, like, honestly, Barcelona, like the way Barcelona plays, even like back in my day, you know, with the Xavi, with the Alonso, with the Piqué, with everybody on that team, it almost just seemed like when they were passing the ball, their brains were connected. They knew where they had to be, where the ball was going to find you. And then you find the same thing translate over to the NBA and to, basketball just there as well. And that just shows you their mentality is just very different. It's not about one guy does the job. Sorry, Justin, you might not thrive there. It's all about teamwork.
Are you saying I'm not a team player? Huh?
Next question.
Okay, well.
Next question.
That's a good way to end that talk, because we got some other big news in the World Cup. As we did mention, Canada's opponent on Sunday will be the United States of America, who sent out not the Navy SEALs, but the Sea Troops. The Sea Squad failed to meet expectations. It's not the USA squad, it's their Sea Squad.
Okay, sure.
Anthony Edwards led the way with 23 points. Team USA loses 113-111 to Germany. And Raptor fans, you're going to want to hear this, because Dennis Schroeder played pretty well, and he actually shot the ball efficiently after his woeful shooting performance in the last game. 7 of 13, 53% from the field, 43% from three-point range, 17 points, helping Germany advance to the finals of the FIBA World Cup. Franz Wagner had 22 points. Daniel Theis had 21. Very good performance from Germany. They, again, Steve Kerr said after the game, this is not 1992 anymore. Basically making reference to the Dream Team in the U.S. being head and shoulders above the rest. I don't know if I believe that. I think that when the U.S., as they normally do, they pump their egos out. They know they're so much better than the world. This American squad right here is not their best team. We know that. We're all aware of that. This American team right here is probably their C/D squad, right? They got thoroughly dominated today. I think Germany led for over 30 minutes. The USA only led for 4 minutes in this game. Fast break points were fairly even. Points to the paint, Germany dominated that. I think, and from what Steve Kerr said, was yes, the world is catching up, but also the U.S. is just the fat cat, right? They get lazy.
Oh my God!
They
Calling
get lazy.
them Garfield?
Yeah, they are Garfield. They get lazy and they take it for granted that they're so much more talented than everybody else, and they send out their C squads because the NBA players don't care. Now, I do think that a lot of the players are going to see what happened here. And a lot of them and you're going to get the big guys that come out to the Olympics next year, right? This is not going to be the same U.S. squad next year in Paris.
I think Noah Lyles was the one that kind of started the torch under their bums. And he was like, well, it's world champions of what? And then now, because they lost, they're going to have to answer to that. So that pressure is there. Of them not being able to look at FIBA the same way they look at NBA. And again, I don't blame them for that. It's not like they have the same resources and luxuries the way you get with the NBA at FIBA. So I understand. But I think just the discourse around it should have us see a way more star-studded USA team, even a way more star-studded Canada team next year. I would love to see Jamal Murray. I think Andrew Wiggins said that he didn't play he wasn't ready to commit for 3 years, but now they're in the Olympics. I think it's just one summer, Andrew Wiggins. It's in Paris. It's in France. Bring your berets. Get ready. But
the biggest thing about that is the endorsement opportunities, because you're now on a global scene. You're on a global stage. The Olympics, the Summer Olympics especially, every 4 years, everybody is watching. Whether you like basketball or you like sprinting or you like whatever, everybody watches the Olympics because it's on all day. Right?
And that's what we said, right? Like to us, it's because in the FIBA world, the FIBA is most important to the European teams. But for some reason, USA, Canada, we really value the Olympics.
We ripped the marketing of Team Canada the last episode and about FIBA. But it's true, right? Yeah. Like
They should.
Exactly.
They should.
And I think you're going towards the Olympics next year. It's a big step for Canada basketball. It's a big step to market this. They have a year now. You're the marketing expert here to market this team and this brand so that people around the country can get behind Team Canada basketball.
Absolutely. Well, I think this is going to start something just on Sunday against the USA. Like this, I know we wanted to see them go as further as they could, but just the fact that your last game is going to be against the USA and they also lost, like the fact that Canada lost is one thing, but if I'm in the same timeline as in the day that the USA is also losing and now we have to play each other for the bronze game, I think that's a success. You're in the Olympics, you're playing the USA. It's going to be the game of the year. Maybe not for the other countries, but it is for us, so we'll see how that goes. I'm interested to see what happens there because, as you said, this game was still very close up until the third quarter when the USA just kind of like fell a little bit and you saw Germany come through, but they still got their crap together in the fourth quarter, made a very close game, and they had 4 guys in double digits where Germany had 6 of them. And I do wonder how that is going to translate against Canada because we also have those offensive weapons, but with the USA, the only issue is like you have Brunson, you have Bridges, you have these guys, you have Josh Hart, but how is that ball gonna move around? And the same problems with Canada too, right? Like you have Shai, but I want to see Shai in the driving seat. I don't want to see him pass the ball.
Well, I think one thing I will say is when things broke down a lot for Canada this tournament, you saw Shai, take the ball and do what he does best. Break a guy down and get a shot and create a shot. Before we end this off, let's do little predictions for what's going to transpire between Canada and the U.S. So I'm looking on FanDuel Canada right now. Yes. Canada is a 6.5 point underdog to the USA, plus 210 on the money line. Now, I want to say my pick first because I have a.
Men go first, right? It's all good.
But I'll save the best for last. The best pick for last. See how I turned that around? Anyway,
Oh
I think the U.S. is done. They don't care, right? They're whatever. I don't think they already lost. They didn't win the gold, so they're not gonna win. They don't gonna care with the bronze. And I think Canada might, catch them sleeping. Canada will win the bronze medal. I'm not saying that because I predicted that before the tournament. I'm saying that because I believe that's going to happen.
Is the number one Canadian hater going with Canada in this matchup?
Why are you saying a Canadian hater?
US, Justin, let's not bring up what you don't want to be brought out. But I'm gonna go with Canada as well. I just think the depth is there for Canada. I haven't seen USA be that team that we think they're going to be, and maybe that's an issue because they're playing so many European sides who understand how to stifle that offense because it really is just so iso ball. And I think when you come to Canada, that might change because Canada might not be able to keep up and give that same kind of portrayal the way that the European countries had been. So I'm interested to see how Canada responds to what USA is doing, but I think Canada takes this. Okay, why are you laughing?
I'll tell you off camera.
Say it on camera.
You said stifle when you meant to say stifle.
Ladies and gentlemen, we had to wake up at 4:45 this morning. I apologize for my grammar, my pronunciation. God forbid I mess up as, an immigrant to this country.
Well, guess what?
On camera. I apologize to you people at home. I can't believe I put you through this.
Guess what?
That's my
Guess
bad.
what the best thing is?
I'm going to go home and ask for forgiveness, please.
You get a shot of redemption because Canada plays the USA.
Stifle.
You ruined a segue to end the show right now.
You ruined me. No. Continue.
Anyway, Canada, U.S., Noor gets a shot of redemption because they play at 4:30 in the morning. Make sure you're up bright and early to watch Canada potentially win a medal at the FIBA World Cup, and you can bet your bottom dollar that we'll be back with more Hoop Talks, on Monday to break it all down. Stay tuned.